Hello everyone and welcome back to Risk of Rain. You guys voted and it was extraordinarily close. Between the Miner and the Enforcer, it was a complete tie and I had to cast a vote myself just to get this episode out. So, we're going into the monsoon as the Enforcer. So, the Enforcer. The Enforcer is a unique and interesting class. To start off with, we have a very standard attack for his standard attack. He shoots a shotgun. The unique aspect of this is that the shotgun pierces through enemies, inevitably. His second attack, the Shield Bash, is precisely what it sounds like. It's a melee attack that actually has a deceptively large range. His third ability, Protect and Serve, is probably the core of his character. As you can see, he has a riot shield. And with Protect and Serve, he downs the riot shield, and he will block any attacks coming at him from the front. Such as this Colossus here. I'm going to put down my shield. I just blocked several attacks. It completely nullifies all damage done from that area. His fourth attack is a stun grenade, and it will stun everything within its range and essentially crowd control them. That's what this character is. This character is the definition of crowd control. Due to his shield ability, he can be a little bit unintuitive, because you wind up kind of relying on that thing a lot, but not for what you'd expect. I cannot insist on what I'm about to say enough as far as this character goes. The shield, Protect and Serve, is not a defensive maneuver. It is an offensive maneuver. I know that seems odd to say, but it really is just not a defensive move. As far as defending yourself goes, the Enforcer is the exact same as any other given class. You run the hell away. The shield has a unique property to it. It increases his attack speed. As you can see, he's firing significantly faster than he does normally. Like, there's his normal attack speed, and you saw his previous attack speed before. Due to this, I consider it significantly more offensive than defensive, because the issue is that things will get behind you, and certain things just go straight through the friggin' shield. For example, jellyfish. Jellyfish will go right through the shield. They just ignore it completely. Another one would be certain elites, shocking elites, mainly. Their electricity will go straight through it. Another one would be volatile. Volatile elites, the explosive ones, will all just go right on through. Well, usually. Sometimes it blocks it, sometimes it doesn't. It's hard to predict. And that's kind of why I like the Enforcer. The Enforcer's probably... Well, the strange thing with this game is that all of the classes are extremely unique. Save for perhaps the Bandit. The Bandit is fairly standard, aside from his cooldown resetting and so forth. But the Enforcer is particular. The Enforcer requires a lot of precision, and not only precision, but a lot of prediction. He requires you to be able to read your enemies. You have to be able to tell when they're about to attack you, when they're too close to you, and what their attack patterns, generally speaking, are. Fortunately enough, he has a lot of tools to deal with these things. Unfortunately, he's a slow guy. He's very slow. His natural movement speed is slower than anyone else in the game. His natural attack speed is slower than anyone else because well, to be quite frank, his attack is actually his standard attack is the best in the game. By far. It's kind of strange, actually, that we're going from the Sniper to the Enforcer, because of all the classes in the game, I believe these two have the largest space between the two of them, as far as their relative abilities go. The Sniper is almost entirely unable to crowd control. He doesn't do it well, and he just can't. while the Enforcer can do pretty much nothing else. But that's kind of okay most of the time. The thing is that this game is very crowd control oriented. It's got a lot of things all at the same time. Another thing worth noting, mushrooms, that poison aura. Sometimes it goes through, sometimes it doesn't. I haven't been able to predict it yet. Usually just stay the fuck away. The thing about the Enforcer is that his item synergy is possibly the best in the game, save for drones. He doesn't synergize well with drones. The fact that he blocks a lot of things himself, sometimes drones will just get right in the way, and it winds up, well, it makes them die. The other thing with him is that, well, sorry, his kind of unique aspect is that his shots, absolutely none of them do not pierce. His standard attack, his shotgun, goes through enemies. His shield bash goes through enemies. His stun grenade, it goes through enemies as well. Also, a note about the Ancient Wisp. I didn't notice this before, because I don't really get hit by him, but if you are hit by his little blast there, it spawns a wisp on you. I didn't notice that before, because I've never really been hit by him in a calculated position. While, of course, as the Enforcer, I have to calculate every position I take up. And blocking counts as being hit by it. Funnily enough, though, I believe we get a sprouting egg later on, and the sprouting egg has a pretty weird thing to it, because it increases your regeneration when you're outside of combat. And strangely enough, blocking an attack does not count as going into combat, neither does shooting things. So if you can just completely not take any damage, then you completely get that regeneration the whole time. Now, the thing with the Enforcer on Monsoon, though, is his speed is a serious problem. Like, I haven't gotten a single Paul's Goat Hoof yet, which, strangely enough, for almost everyone is one of the better items you can get. But I did get something else. I got an item called the Shattering Justice. And the Shattering Justice, for most classes, is pretty good. What it does is every time you hit something, it lowers its armor. You can see that indicator above that guy's head, saying 5. The thing is that when I say armor, I do mean the stat. Every enemy has a stat just like a character class does. They have health, they have regen. Well, I don't actually know if they have regen. I don't think they do. They have health, they have damage, they have armor. And as such, you can reduce their armor with the Shattering Justice. The Shattering Justice is one of those inevitable on-hit items. So, whenever you hit them, it will inevitably do that. It's kind of like, say, Thallium or the Bleeding Knife, or the Rusty Knife, except with 100% proc rating. When I went through this last episode, I went through how there are kind of those 6 different types of items. Those items also have subcategories. In the case of on-hit items, you have inevitable on-hit, chance on-hit, and chance on multi-hit items. Inevitable on-hit would be something like the Shattering Justice. Whenever you hit something, it procs. End of story. Then you have chance on-hit, which is things like Bleeding Knife and Thallium. And then you have chance on multi-hit, which are things like the Sticky Bomb, where it has an 8% chance of laying down a bomb every time you hit something. But if it hits multiple things, it calculates that chance for each thing hit. So, unlike the Bleeding Knife, where if you hit multiple things, it just procs on all of them if it procs, the Sticky Bomb, in a crowd control situation, procs more often, but only affects one thing if it does proc, or it procs on multiple things, depending upon the situation. But the thing with the Shattering Justice is that since we are the Enforcer, it is one of the best items we can get. Because we hit everything, and it procs every time. And so we wind up reducing everything in front of us' armor by 5 every hit up to 5 times. Yes, that is incredibly useful. I'm sure you can imagine. We also got another new item, the Panic Mines. Essentially, the Panic Mines, when you're hit, I believe it's when you're hit, and the proc rating increases depending upon how much damage you have taken. But when you're hit, you have a chance of laying down a mine underneath you, just like the Minefields mine. And, in all honesty, it can be actually pretty damn useful sometimes, because those things do a lot of damage. We also got the Hermit Scarf just a little bit ago, which makes it so that we have a chance of just evading attacks. If they were going to hit us, they sometimes just don't. Which is nice to have around. Another item we got earlier but abandoned was the Gold-Plated Bomb. The Gold-Plated Bomb is a interesting item that I don't like. Essentially, it drops half your money and then explodes and gives you back your money, admittedly. But it only does the amount of damage as the amount of money you put into it. By the time that you're getting enough money for that kind of damage to matter, things have way too much health for that to really do anything to them. Now, we also got the Lost Doll. And the Lost Doll is a double-edged sword from hell. What the Lost Doll does is that when you use it, it takes 25% of your health to... It says instantly kill, but it actually does 5,000% damage. So it's a lot of damage, but it won't instantly kill things very often, unless you're like the sniper or the bandit. It is an excellent thing to have around for when you're in really troublesome situations with a certain specific thing. It's good for boss killing, because it works on bosses just fine, because it actually does damage instead of, insta-killing like it says it does. So it's good to have around in that way. At the same time, 25% of your health is a lot of your health. So it can kind of backfire sometimes. And right here is what I mean by this character being a crowd control monster. Notice how I'm just, not actually taking damage from these things in front of me? Now, admittedly, right there, we had a problem because mechanical spiders wound up spawning behind me. And now I'm playing skip rope with their bullets. But, generally speaking, if things aren't spawning, like a teleporter instance in this case, then you're usually gonna be okay. Save for in certain situations where you wind up getting, jellyfish and shit. And this is essentially how you play this character. Because, believe it or not, that backing up thing I'm doing, how I'm just, backing up a little bit every time, yeah, that wasn't in the game until the most recent patch. This character actually could not move while in Protect and Serve before. I would consider that to make him one of the worst classes in the game, but fortunately enough, they buffed him so that he can move a little bit. Strangely enough, he can also climb ladders. He does so at a slowed rate, but he can. But this is pretty much how you deal with most situations, is kiting. He's one of 2 characters in the game with the actual ability to legitimately kite, move backwards and shoot at the same time. Admittedly, he stops every time when he needs to shoot, but still. Now, the Shield Bash is one of the essential things to learning this character, because the Shield Bash actually has a hitbox behind you. And as such, it can be used to get things from behind you in front of you, which is where you want them, so that you can actually properly control them. I'm just going to fast forward a little bit here, but I'm going to highlight this little area here, when this happened. I damn near died right there, but fortunately enough I was able to get the shield down, and now this happens. I am invincible. Badoink. that is one of the better situations for the Enforcer. The thing is do not rely on that happening every time, because it won't. Between Volatile, the explosive enemies, and stuff like that, their missiles usually go straight through your shield. Just period. Because they wind up going behind you, because they kind of have an erratic attack pattern. And so I wouldn't recommend doing that unless you're absolutely confident you will survive. Now, we're in the Hive Cluster again, and the Hive Cluster, like, the weird thing for the Enforcer is how the hardest levels for him of the whole game are the 5th level, the Temple of the Elders, and the first 2. The third, whether it's... the third level, particularly if it's the Ancient Valley, and a little bit if it's the Sunken Tomb, are actually some of the easiest in the game for him. And this includes this area, because of this one specific place. That little tunnel there is, like, the Enforcer's best friend, because it prevents anything from getting to him from any direction except for the one that he wants them in. And as such, you can abuse that pretty well. I believe I do that a few times throughout this. The issue is with this little area is that, essentially, again, volatile. The explosive guys just are the biggest asshole to the Enforcer in this game, like, period. Because so often their missiles just wind up going behind his shield, and I absolutely hate it. Fortunately enough, right now I'm able to keep it from... See, right there, it just went right behind. And that happens an awful lot. And the thing is that the Enforcer actually does not have a very good armor stat or a very good health stat. He's not very durable. I've heard some people in the thread say, like, oh, the Enforcer's kind of like the tank. No, the tank is handy. This character can't actually tank. He just is invulnerable to certain things. Another issue with him is, that guy over there. Gups, I believe they're called, had, in this case, a volatile Gup, which is just a double problem, are one of the bigger problems in the game for him, because their shots have that line where they, like, kind of show you, hey, yeah, I nearly died right there. They kind of show you, hey, I'm about to hit around this area. Random boss spawn. They kind of tell you, hey, I'm about to hit this area. The thing is that line, if you're in that line, it does damage, and damn it. If you're in that line, it will do damage with the line thing. But it will also do damage if you are near the place where the line ends, the wall where it hits. Just run away. And as such, you wind up with this kind of problem where occasionally you'll be shooting at them while you're up against a wall, and the explosion from their shot will hit you because it hit the wall. And yes, I'm just running away. I was about to die there, and I need some time for that mega healer that I got to heal me back up. Because those things are actually remarkably handy. And it kind of gets proved throughout this one, because there's actually another one I get later on. Oddly enough, I almost never get these things, because they're the most rare spawning drone in the game. But I managed to get 2 of them this run. So that was helpful. Something I probably should mention is that at the end of this video, I'm going to have the first, death montage, so to speak. Because this took me a while to actually do. But getting back to the old topic. The Enforcer on the 4th level is a bit of a thing, because I don't know why, but both of them, both the Hive Cluster and the Magma Barracks, are both relatively easy for him. Cremator is surprisingly easy as the Enforcer, because generally speaking, you can kind of, like, hunker down near to the wall of where he spawns, and usually you'll be able to block his attacks. Meanwhile, all of the other enemies that spawn, the evolved Lemurians and so forth, like, they cluster. And so they're easy to take care of. And the only problem is with the Hive Cluster, the the Gups. They're the big problem. The other thing is that, like, almost all of them have horizontal-facing attacks. Quick warning about the Parent. The Parent's attack actually does hit where their hands are, not where they are, so, or where their arms are. So if they're close enough to you, they will go right through your shield. Essentially, that's what you have to learn as the Enforcer, is learn where what goes through your shield. Like, right there, they didn't go through at all. But if they were a little bit closer, I probably would have died right there. But on the Magma Barracks, like, the Bisons, the Mechanical Spiders, all those things, they all have horizontal attacks. Just strictly horizontal. And so they are pretty much invalid in a lot of cases, because when they come up to you, then you just sort of smack them back with Shield Bash. In any case, this is a relatively bad situation I've gotten myself in, but I did manage to luck out on the last level. I got a lot of drones. Like, a lot of drones. I got 2 assault drones, perhaps even 3, I can't really tell, and 2 laser drones. And laser drones and flamethrower drones for the Enforcer are incredibly useful, particularly laser. Because laser drones pierce. And what do you want as a crowd control character? More crowd control. So, essentially, I can keep them away from the drones, and let the drones do a good amount of damage to them. Particularly to the longer ranged enemies, because the issue with the shotgun is that it actually stops relatively close to you. If it just pierced through everything, if it was like a continuous heaven cracker, that would be freaking ridiculous. Now, I switched out the Lost Doll for the Jar of Souls because I know that I'm going to have to keep my distance occasionally throughout this place, and in all honesty, it causes way more chaos than the Lost Doll does. If you're dealing with large crowds a lot of the time, which you are on Monsoon, inevitably, the Jar of Souls can be very, very helpful. One thing with the Enforcer is that he's great at dealing with enemies. Just standard, regular old enemies. Like, I'm pretty much running through this area right now. The issue with him is dealing with bosses a lot of the time. Like, not the Imp Overlord, necessarily. The Imp Overlord actually can be a serious problem for him, though, if you don't manage to get the Imp Overlord in a condensed space. Because that, like, beatdown attack that he does will take out most of your health, because the Enforcer is remarkably squishy. But now we're on the Temple of the Elders, and I am actually going to switch for the drone repair kit, because I have a lot of drones, and I like them. I am liking my current drone setup. I've got pretty much every kind of drone aside from flamethrowers, and I am totally okay with that, and this is the other reason. Archer bugs. The Enforcer has an issue with archer bugs very, very similar to that of the Sniper. He doesn't quite fire fast enough to actually deal with them. He's better at it than the Sniper is, because the Sniper doesn't have the stun grenade. And the other thing is that they stay, like, right outside of the range of a shield bash. Like, they wouldn't be affected by the shield bash because they're a flying enemy, but they stay right outside the range of it at all times, so you can't even do damage to them with it. And I cannot... The amount of times that I died during recording of this to those fuckers, innumerable amount. Now, I believe that there is some way to control the trajectory of the Enforcer's stun grenade, but I haven't been able to figure it out yet, because sometimes it just drops down and sometimes it goes straight forward. I think there is a way of controlling that. If someone could mention in the thread that's more proficient with this character than I am, and I'll put it in a future video, that would be great. In any case, this place's main problem is the archer bugs. The archer bugs are the big issue with this area as the Enforcer, because with the Temple Guards, as with the Wandering Vagrant, funnily enough, the Wandering Vagrant is the easiest boss in the game for the Enforcer to take care of. You just have to back up. Whenever they're about to shoot, back up slightly and block it. You'll be fine. And I'm also going to do something probably a little bit stupid here, but I kind of wanted to take the risk to make sure that everything worked out. Well, first off, I'm going to just beat up this temple guard, but that Providence shrine up there, looking mighty tempting. And so I decided to take the risk. And it turns out worth it. Because sticky bombs are a great item for pretty much anyone in the game, honestly. Save for probably the sniper. But again, sniper. Because, as I said before, they're a proc on multi-hit item. So essentially, if you hit multiple enemies, then it has a chance to proc on all of them. And since you're hitting multiple enemies all the time, that's... I think you get it at this point, that's pretty much the items that synergize the best with the Enforcer. Things like Thallium, the Rusty Knife, those kinds of things. That is all of them saved for one. The Brilliant Behemoth. I didn't notice it before I started playing now, because I haven't played this character very much since the patch where they made it so that melee attacks work with the Brilliant Behemoth. The Brilliant Behemoth has the same issue with the Shield Bash as it does with Handy's Hurt attack. It sometimes knocks them forwards. Right behind your shield when you use the Shield Bash. I would recommend actually actively avoiding the Brilliant Behemoth due to this. It can cause... with his shotgun, it's great. It just makes it so that his Shield Bash just sometimes backfires completely. That said, things like the Sticky Bomb or the Plasma Chain, which we just got, are great to have around. Also, dealing with bladed enemies, remarkably easy as the Enforcer. Because, strangely enough, they're just like regular enemies. You can knock them back just fine, and so you can use your crowd control options on them, and all will be pretty much well. The issue is that right now, I'm gonna do something kinda counter to what you necessarily should do during a teleporter. Namely, I'm gonna get the hell away from here. Because the thing is that dealing with crowds is just fine for the Enforcer. Dealing with crowds while surrounded by archer bugs, not so much. Like, in a little bit here, I believe I have a moment where I nearly die. And that's pretty much exclusively due to the archer bugs. I think that I'm trying to get these drones back right now. I'm just backing up slowly to get them. There we go. And then a bladed enemy spawns. And while I say that bladed enemies are remarkably easy to deal with, I mean that in comparison to with every other class, save for one, of course. Because they're still bladed enemies. They're still an absolute prick. And so, dealing with them, like, kinda, not out of the question, but certainly not nice, particularly when surrounded by archer bugs. Now, we did get a new item a little bit ago, and it's a relatively interesting item. It's Dio's Friend. Dio's Friend is a little teddy bear, and what it is that when you die, you resurrect. I don't believe that I actually need to use it at all throughout this entire run, but when you die, you resurrect at 25% health. The issue with it is that you don't actually get, like, a refresh period or anything like that. Time doesn't stop, nothing like that winds up happening. Essentially, everything's still going on, and you just kind of get, like, a second wind of sorts. And it's a chance to run the fuck away in most of the cases. And, as you can see, that's exactly what I'm doing in order to deal with these frickin' archer bugs until the teleporter timer stops, so that I can actually, like, fight things instead of just dealing with them constantly. Now, we also got the Wicked Ring. And the Wicked Ring is an incredibly useful item for everyone. Period. Get it. End of story. Critical hits make it so all your cooldowns go down by a second. It's great. And for certain classes, it's friggin' stupidly wonderful. We also got a new item just now, and I'm going to go into that before I go into the way to deal with this area, or the way that I went about it. We just got a new item known as the Charge Field Generator. The Charge Field Generator is unlocked with the Mercenary by eviscerating 20 enemies. You'll understand what that means when we get to the Mercenary. He has a move called Eviscerate, and if you kill things with it, then that counts towards that. As soon as you unlock the Mercenary, get this item. This item there is no one in the game that doesn't like this item. It is pretty much like a globally great thing to have. What it does is that whenever something is killed, admittedly you won't be able to see it for a little bit yet, but whenever something's killed, you get this little aura around you. It essentially deals a little bit of damage. It does 50% of your total damage. For 6 seconds, there it is. It lasts around you. Here's the thing, though. If you kill something else while it is active, if you kill another thing while it's active, then its duration refreshes and it gets bigger, like that. Continuously. On and on and on. On and on and on and on and on. Always. As long as you keep killing things, it keeps getting bigger and keeps refreshing. Another 6 seconds, another 6 seconds, another 6 seconds. I don't mean that as in, like, oh, it'll limit out eventually. No, it doesn't limit. It can seriously, if you just spend your time doing nothing but murdering everything around you, the thing will cover the entire map. We also got the Soldier's Syringe. The Soldier's Syringe is a basic item, so it does something relatively, basic. It increases your attack speed. There's a reason that this is, like, one of the only basic items locked behind an achievement. Because I can't think of a single character in the game, again, save for the sniper. I'm gonna just stop saying that. If it doesn't make sense that the sniper would get along with it, just assume that. Although even he gets along with it to a certain extent, every character gets along with that, and with this thing. And that's kind of how common items, white items, work, is that every character in the game can get some use out of it. Like, it's not particularly useful for... It's not, like, greatly useful for one and completely useless to another. Like, say, I don't know, the Brilliant Behemoth on the sniper kind of thing. Right here, this moment right here, I had a bit of a panic attack, because my health got really, really low, and I had been at this for 2.5 hours at this point, trying to get this friggin' run to work, and I actually remember distinctly what I said. What I said was something along the lines of, nope, not dying here, not dying here, not dying here, and I didn't, so, yay. To unlock these items, because we've got a couple of achievement items now, namely the Panic Mines, the Shattering Justice, Dio's Friend, Charge Field Generator, and the Soldier's Syringe. To unlock the Panic Mines, you have to survive a teleporter event with the miner without falling below 50% health. Relatively simple. To get the Charge Field Generator, you eviscerate 20 enemies as the Mercenary. To get the Soldier's Syringe, you have to dodge 7 lethal attacks as the Commando. To get Dio's Friend, you have to die 50 times. So, that one's relatively, just essentially keep playing, you'll get it. And then there's the Shattering Justice. The Shattering Justice is... I accidentally hit C right there. Don't hit C in those situations. Protect and Serve is one of those things that is just gonna kill you if you use it wrong. But Shattering Justice, it's what we're going to cover in the next achievement video that's coming up after this. It and one other thing. Because its unlock requirement is to reach level, as in experience level, 10 as the miner, without being hurt more than once. So look forward to that. In any case, so the way that I'm going to be dealing with the UES Contact Light this time around is that essentially I'm not going to farm at all, because I don't have time to farm. I got to this level at like 40 minutes in. Things were already getting irrational. Like, pretty soon here, I'm not going to be surprised if I start getting elite young vagrants spawning on me, because I'm already getting elite friggin' temple guards. And yes, I'm keeping the drone repair kit around, because essentially I need that thing to keep my drones alive in the upcoming fight. Because Providence for the Enforcer is a very, very strange beast. Now, that said, first of all, I'm going to kind of take care of a few things that are surrounding me currently. Because pretty much, I have the golden gun, I kind of want the extra damage, but also most of those enemies down there are blighted. And as such, they can give me items. And, this was a bad move. Because, like, it's not because I wasted time, but because, I kind of forgot how squishy drones can be when you are the, Enforcer. And how squishy you are. Because, as I said before, drones are based upon your own stats, as your character class. And with the Enforcer, your stats are actually remarkably low. Save for your damage stat, you've actually got some of the worst stats in the game. And then that happened. That was what I meant right there. Fortunately enough, I did manage to kill him. I got a useless friggin' use item and a crowbar out of it, and I guess the crowbar is kind of okay to have around. But I don't really think that was worth it, because now I have to start this battle without one of my drones. Which is not fun. In fact, right now, I think that I'm actually just waiting around for a young vagrant to spawn, and it doesn't, so here we go. So, Providence with the Enforcer. Providence with the Enforcer is kind of one of the most difficult things that the Enforcer has to do. The thing is that yes, you can block him. He is completely blockable. And as such, you can actually be almost invulnerable to him. But there's always a but in these situations. Notice how much damage he's doing to my drones when I'm sitting there trying to block him. Like, I am not taking any damage. They are taking an immense amount of damage, and they're the main method of damage that I have to do to this guy. So, I do not want to have them die. And also, when he goes into invulnerability like that, there is no point in staying in front of him. In all honesty, you can just continuously back away and shoot while in Protect and Serve, and you will live. Your drones won't, and essentially, you can be invulnerable to him, but you don't want to be. Particularly not for this form. And in the next ones, you can't be. The thing is that his teleport attack will not hit you if you're blocking. He teleports in front of you, ever so slightly, and as such, you just block it, in every given case. His fire also will not hit you. It inevitably goes towards you, as long as you're not facing the opposite direction of him for some reason, then you'll be fine. And that attack right there, again, you can just back away. He was shielded, so I didn't bother. But you can just back away from that, and you will be invulnerable to it. The thing is that he's still really durable. He's got a lot of health at this point. Like, he's spawned with 69,345 health, which is about 69 times that of a regular boss. And as such, he is being remarkably difficult to take down. I also opted to only get the one keycard, because that was all that the game gave me. I didn't want to explore those other areas, nothing like that. So I went and got the medbay, and it made my way here. And now the Gilded Worms. The Gilded Worms are a bit of a douche. Not because of any sort of, like, actual damage dealing capabilities. Again, like, you're likely going to survive these guys if you know what you're doing at all. The issue with them is the red one. Because I'm about to try it here, and it doesn't work. Well, okay, it worked that time. But generally speaking, if you try to shield that, and, like, back away from it, the laser, it'll either wind up just hitting you, because it's actually slightly faster than you are, or it'll just blast your drones to hell. And so, I recommend against ever shielding against these guys. Period. Just dodge them. Dodge them and rely on the fact that you do a lot of damage to them when you use your stun grenade and your shield bash. And your just shotgun. Like, I think this is where I try it, and everything backfires. Oh no. No, it's not. Whatever. Now, fortunately enough, I managed to tether one of them right there. And one of the main things that I want right now is I want these guys dead. Like, of course you want that, but the thing is that there it is. That was when it happened. Ow. And that was the moment that I realized that I probably shouldn't be doing that. Like, period. And, I want these guys dead for more than one reason. I want these guys dead so that I can get to the next phase, but not so that I can, you know, win. Well, that's like the end objective, but mainly so that I can get those temple guards to come out. Because those 2 temple guards give you a lot of money. And I want that money because my drones, like, a good 3, I think, of my drones are currently dead. And I need those things to live. Like, I specialized with drones this run. My use item is a drone repair kit. So, there's one down. And another thing is that, try to get near them when one of them dies. Try to get near the other, because if you have the charge field generator, because you'll do a lot of stuff to them. Now, right here, I took a risk. I decided to go for it. I decided to go for the shield, because I wanted those guys dead, and it is backfiring a little bit right now. Like, I'll be honest, I haven't actually fought Providence on Monsoon in, like, 2 months before this. As the Enforcer, because he's tough to get to. And so I hadn't really experimented with this stuff yet. And so I was doing a lot of trial and error, like, trying to see what I could do. And then the ghost came. This is the hardest part of the Providence fight, by far. Because the thing is that if you can block the one Providence, then the other Providence will probably hit you. So you don't shield. At all. So your attack speed is significantly reduced. My suggestion is there's a little 1-2-3 combo I sometimes do, where I just shoot, I use the grenade, and I shoot again. Generally speaking, this will deal a decent amount of damage in a short amount of time, because the thing is that you can cancel the shot into the grenade. It's just like any other ranged character as far as that kind of canceling goes. So I do that a decent amount throughout this, and in all honesty, I did it a decent amount throughout the run of the game as well, because it's pretty much the only thing that you have when you're not, you know, shielded. Even when you are shielded, it's still a good thing to do in order just to keep things off of you. But I really want those temple guards dead, and they're not fucking dying. I also do want to point out the time. This is 53 minutes in. 54, actually, more like. On Monsoon. And I have less than 2 rows of items. Needless to say, I am having trouble here. Like, it's one of those weird things with this game, where when I watch the things back, I look at it and I go, man, that doesn't look too hard. And then I remember what it was like when I actually was playing it, and I was panicking for, like, all of this, particularly when my drones started dying en masse, because I was just like, I can't deal with this crap without these guys. It's not possible. And, well, it is possible, probably, but I can't. So, I was targeting the temple guards more than anything else throughout this whole fight. And it comes into play later on. Also, I should point out that we got the spike strips, which I don't think we've gotten before, but they're pretty useless. Don't get them if you can. When you get hit, they lay down a thing that slows down enemies. For very specific characters, like the Huntress, this is useful, but not for, like, anyone else. Again, another panic attack right there, because, holy crap, lots of damage. I used the medbay to make sure that I, lived. And at this point, those things are both nearly dead. I'm taking a severe risk here, and that's what winds up happening for it. Fortunately enough, I did have a backup plan of, again, get the hell out. And the thing is that it looks right now like I'm about to passively kill Providence faster than I'm going to kill these friggin' Temple Guards. And so, now I finally killed them through passive damage up there. I'm not even sure how that guy died, but I needed that money, and I got the money way too late. Way too late. So I pretty much did this with, like, 4 drones. And at this point, I'm very happy. I'm very happy. I remember when I finally did beat this, and I sighed. I just went, it's finally over. Because this took me, like, 25 tries to finally get right. And we also got Providence's monster log. As a note, that is, like, the biggest thing preventing you from getting 100% in this game. So we got that early. Yay. Well, guys, there's that. So I'm opening up the vote again. It's probably going to wind up being a minor run. But that was stressful. I'll see you all next time. In the meantime, enjoy the fruits of my pain. So much pain. I'll see you all next time.